This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to CWK Live every Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Zare, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. Let's bring in all of our friends here. Look at this. We've got the one and only Mason Z. Hello, Mason. Mason is joining us from Central Illinois. Minta is here. This is the way. It's CWK Day. Hello, Minta. Merry happy Monday to you. Good to have you on the show. Jason is here as well. Jason posted a great picture of him and his family on May the 4th in the CWK Cafe. Be sure to check that out. Jamie is also with us. Hello, Jamie. Happy Monday to you, my friend. Liberty is here on the show. Hello, Liberty. Jacob is here. Hello, Jacob. Good to see you. Ross says, I've got a good feeling about this. I bet. In Ross, how's baseball treating you these days, man? I honestly don't know how the Giants are doing. I know the Cubs are terrible. Still love them. But, you know, that's kind of part of being a Cubs fan. Blake says, hey, my CWK fan. What's up? And Jenny is here as well. Hello, Jenny. Well, tonight, we've got quite a show for you. We are going to, of course, look at top 5 moments from Star Wars Rebels Gathering Forces, part 2 of the Empire Day little duology there. We've got a lot of Star Wars Celebration news and collectibles in your comments and questions. Mary says the Reds are worse than the Cubs. And Mary, you are right. You are right. I wonder how Major League Baseball feels about having these two teams in the Field of Dreams Classic this year. I don't know. We shall see. Maybe it'll make tickets easier to get. That would be okay too, wouldn't it? All right, so last week we talked about, the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer came out. I didn't really talk about it on the show because, honestly, I don't really have a lot to say about it. I mean, it didn't really show us that much more, so some great images and things like that. But maybe I'll say that for a future show. We'll just kind of see. Ross says, Giants were off to a great start, but then a 5-game losing streak, but just beat the Cardinals 2 games in a row to break it up. Well, that's true. And Mary is understanding, baseball is a tricky time this year. But what's not tricky is all of you. So I had 32 entries in the CWK Cafe, our Facebook group, where you're supposed to put what you loved about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I was going to give away one of these, the Obi-Wan Kenobi 50th Anniversary Lucasfilm Archive figure from Revenge of the Sith. But guess what? Because you're all so wonderful, and because this is what we do at Coffee with Kenobi, I've actually got 2 of them to give away. And I did a random drawing right before the show started, put all 32 of your names in there for all 32 of your comments, and the 2 winners of the Obi-Wan Kenobi figures are Dennis Keithley and Mary Purdue. Congratulations, Dennis and Mary. I will send you a message and get these out to you later this week. So congratulations to you for one of these Obi-Wan Kenobi figures. How perfect. We're able to give these away on Coffee with Kenobi. And it was a fun thread. It was fun to see everybody's passions for this unique character that a lot of people really love. And I feel like it's going to raise even more because of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Ross says, yay, Dennis and Mary. And Jamie says, congrats to you both. See, this is why this is a great Star Wars community that we have here, because everybody's happy for everybody else. And you know what? There's going to be more giveaways. I promise you that. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week. So Mary and says congratulations to Dennis, and Jason passed on his congratulations. And Mary, I know you wouldn't say congratulations to me, but congratulations to you. Hey, what's up? David Motters is here. Well, hello, David. Good to see you, buddy. Good to have you on the big show. Minta also says congratulations, too. So cool. All right, so what's brewing in the world of Star Wars? First, tell me, real briefly, because we got so much to go through, but because I could easily spend the whole period just talking to each of you individually, talking about your May the 4th. Tell me your highlights of May the 4th, any fun things that happen, or we could always save it for Ask Dan Z at the end. So yeah, listen, to be thinking about what you want to share about your highlights, and we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But for right now, let's look at all the amazing merchandise that's out there. All right, so this is probably the biggest jaw-dropping moment, at least to me anyway. This actually came out late on May the 4th, very, very late on May the 4th. I believe it was on Jimmy Kimmel. Yes, on Jimmy Kimmel, it was announced, because Ewan McGregor was on the show, that on May 11th, which is in 2 days, on Wednesday, you're going to be able to pre-order the Black Series Obi-Wan Kenobi Wandering Jedi figure. And this figure is based on the Disney Plus Obi-Wan Kenobi that's coming out in a couple of weeks. So here it is. I got a lot of pictures of this thing, so buckle up, friends. I mean, look at the sculpt. You know, the photorealism that they use on these things is always stunning. Here's 2 great shots of this figure. There he is without the cloak on. And the way they pose these, I can never get them to pose this cool and get the lightsaber in the hands, but it always looks so cool when they do it, right? So those are a lot of great pictures that they sent me of this figure. Again, the Obi-Wan Kenobi Wandering Jedi figure is going to go on sale for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse and most major retailers on May 11th. And a few people asked me, hey, what accessories does it come with? I don't know. I only know what they showed me on the pictures, but obviously he's coming with a lightsaber. So I don't normally go for Black Series figures, but this seems too good to pass up, honestly. Ben, what's up, Ben? Speaking of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben says, hello there. Blake says the mold and robe on this figure is perfection. It really is. This is one you'd open. Aminta says, General Kenobi, you are a bold one. And Mary says, Ewan was hilarious on the show when he was showing the figure. It is kind of fun, even though he's clearly been many action figures over the years. He really seemed to be excited about that, so that was cool. All right. On May the 4th, there were a whole bunch of stuff that was announced. This is one a lot of you sent to me because you know how much I love this retro line. But they're doing a box set of the Stormtrooper, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, and Han Solo for the retro line. This came out actually back for the 40th anniversary, but they're re-releasing them. So if you missed them, this is a great chance to get them as one set, which is pretty cool. I love these very much. First on the right, you've got Episode 3 / of the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series, Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber. This is the Hasbro's Black Series line. On the left, you've got Darth Vader's helmet, right? A Black Series version of Darth Vader's helmet. This is also based on the one apparently from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Now, on Entertainment Earth, I think that the Obi-Wan lightsaber is sold out, but you can still get it on other places like Big Bad Toy Store and other places, so you can look around for it, but really beautiful. You know, I'm tempted to get this one, but I like to get my legacy lightsabers, or, you know, versions of the nice lightsabers from Galaxy's Edge. To at the time of this recording, they haven't announced that, but that's going to be a while ago. But however, getting that Boba Fett helmet that I got really kind of gave me an itch for those Black Series helmets. So I don't have a Vader helmet, but if I were to get one, that would be the one to snag. And these are now all this stuff on May the 4th that was announced is going to come out, I think, late spring of next year. So it's going to be a while. All right, new figures, new action figures. Oh, look at Ben says that Vader's helmet is definitely a Father's Day gift. That's right. That's right. Remind me to talk about that later, Ben. So you've got the Clone Trooper battalion figure from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. This is a Black Series. And you've got a New Republic security droid from The Mandalorian. Those are 2 Black Series figures as well. The retro collection will be released. I think it's coming out in the spring, and I think the pre-orders went on sale already, but you can go ahead and check. They're not necessarily all sold out. But somebody else who was a little more on it with that kind of thing, let me know. We've also got, if you are a fan of the Cantina Band, you got figuring Dan, and you've got Nalan Cheel, which I didn't know that was his name. 2 figures from the Cantina Band. You're able to get Black Series versions of them, and really the Nalan Cheel one sounds a lot like Leland Chee to me. That might be on purpose, for all I know. That just has a ton more accessories and different hands and things like that. Then you've got Princess Leia from the Ewok Village from Return of the Jedi. A really great looking figure there as well. Very, very cool. I mean to dig in the Cantina Band. And here's some of the vintage line. You've got the 332nd Ahsoka's Clone Trooper figure. That is a great looking figure. That is one that I've kind of slowed down on these things unless it's the retro line, but that is a very cool figure. On the right, you've got Anakin Skywalker as a Padawan from Attack of the Clones. And I don't know if that's a newer sculpt or not. So someone will have to let me know about that. Then you've got from the Force Unleashed, the Stormtrooper Commander, which is a really cool figure. These again are 3 3/4 inch figures. And then a Heavy Assault Stormtrooper from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is great. Mason, I know you're out there, buddy. What do you think of these action figures? I had a feeling you would think they were really cool. Blake says, could you imagine a Mos Eisley Cantina playset for the Black Series figure? You know what? That'd be awesome. It'd be big, but it would be really cool. Then we've got, on the left, this is another fantastic figure, a Mandalorian Super Commando from Star Wars The Clone Wars. I mean, look at that. How cool is that figure? These are the kind of figures you never dreamed you'd actually get a chance to see, but look at it. It's a stunner. The painting, the extra pistols it comes with. It's got the long blaster. So awesome. Mace, buddy, I knew you'd love them. Let me know what your favorites are. And then on the right, this is the box for the Phase 1 Clone Trooper. The next slide, get ready to drool, friends. This is what's inside. This is what they look like with and without their helmets. You've got 4 clone troopers that come with this in the unique armor. One of them has the blue stripes as a commander. And they're pretty great. I mean, really, really nice figures. So, there you have it. That was just a taste of some of the cool things that were announced on May the 4th. There was an Ahsoka Tano Legacy lightsaber. This is one that, it's the one that she uses in The Mandalorian. Presumably the one she'll use in the upcoming series. Which, by the way, I'm sure you all saw the image of the Ahsoka chair saying they went to production today and had Dave Filoni's hat hanging over it, which was pretty cool. Ben says that is Mason written all over it. I know, right? I knew he would love it. Jamie loves the armor. It's very nice. And Mason affirming that he loves clone figures. I know that you do, pal. I know that you do. So that's pretty great. So again, the Legacy lightsabers were available in this really cool white box. And Minta's about to share what I could share. I tried to get the Ahsoka sabers, but they were sold out in minutes. I couldn't even get into. I was very casual about it for Shop Disney this time. I don't know why. But I jumped on like maybe a minute after it turned, I think, 9 o'clock. And there was like this massive, there was like 33,000 people in line ahead of me or something crazy like that. And I couldn't get through. And then when I did, it said that it was sold out already. So I was really bummed about that, but that's okay. You know, I'm also several $100s richer because I didn't purchase them. So Mita, just think of it that way, you know. And who knows, maybe they'll come out later as a different kind of an exclusive. So we'll see. But some great stuff, some great coffee mugs, a lot of cool things. All right. Let's do this. Let's talk about the top 5 moments from Star Wars Rebels episode Gathering Forces. This is part 2. The first episode, of course, was Empire Day. A little cliffhanger, the first cliffhanger we've had in Star Wars Rebels. And it's a great one. So let's go ahead and jump into this and talk about our top 5s. Josh says I had an alarm set to pre-order the Kenobi FX Saber. Did you get it, Josh? Did you pre-order it? I know our good friend Corey Club got it. So he was pretty happy about that. Let's do our top 5s here. Let's see, Mason, I think you already gave me your list, so I'm going to pull that up while everyone is getting their lists ready to go. Oh, you did get it, Josh. Well, good for you. That's awesome. That is very good news because I like to get people to snag them if they're able to get that. All right, Mason, I did find yours, so that's good to go. All right, let's go to number 5. Let's go to number 5. Start off this list. Number 5 for me is the arrival of the Inquisitor. The great thing about this season, and I've said this before, is that anytime the Inquisitor shows up, they don't use him all the time, but when they do, you know it's bad news. You know it's trouble. You know how powerful he is. So every time he shows up, it creates this wonderful tension and definitely evokes the idea of the Darth Vader figure. I mean, he's not Darth Vader, but in this season, he certainly kind of takes the place of Darth Vader. So that is my number 5, the Inquisitor arrival. Number 5 for Minta is Zebo, using his skills to help the rebels to escape. Mary's 5, the Phantom falling out of hyperspace. The visuals were very cool and alarming. We'd never seen anything like that I can remember, unless there was something in Clone Wars I just can't remember. But that was a pretty cool part. Jacob's 5, the face-off between Kanan and the Inquisitor. The setting, the overconfident trash talk from the Inquisitor, and the lessons learned make this a memorable battle. Indeed. Jenny's 5, changing tactics in hyperspace, really underrated in my opinion. And very dangerous too, but very exciting. Jamie's number 5, watching the Inquisitor in combat. In keeping with other villains, looks awesome in costume and in the cockpit. Very cool. Ross's 5, Zeb says, oh please, the Imperials can't follow us through hyperspace. Can they? Bit of a foreshadowing there. Liberty's 5, Ezra connecting to Zebo. Don't know how this is spelled and saying he forgives him. Is Zebo spelled a Z? I didn't actually look it up. I can't remember. But hey, you're never going to be penalized, even by this English teacher, for misspelling something Star Wars related, because it's not necessarily intuitive how some of these things are spelled. So no worries. Jason's 5, Chopper spazzing out after being repaired. Yes. Henrik's number 5, Ezra having a photo of his family. Nice one, Henrik. That's definitely one that's going to come up later for me. Ben's number 5, Ezra's conflict forgiving Zebo. Oh, that's how you spell it. It highlights how hard it is to forgive people. It's very relatable. Ezra shows us he can do it after all. Yeah, that's one of the hardest things to do, and that's why it's so important. Blake's number 5, I enjoyed seeing Ezra not being able to forgive the Rodian at first. It's setting up real growth for him later, and it makes him so relatable as a character. Yeah, it does. I like that too. Even our heroes are more heroic and more effective, and I think they impact us more deeply when they are relatable and flawed. If they're just perfect and they never have any doubts, then it's just not very interesting. But the real heroes, the ones you can connect with because of their flaws as human beings, which is great. Number 5 for Mason is when the Inquisitor's lightsaber spins and how it actually works and plays out itself. Ben says he likes that he shared one with Blake. There you go. Great minds, right? How about that? All right, let's go to number 4. Number 4 for me is when the Fearnox and the Jedi work together. It's a really nice image. It's once you kind of think about it, and they set this up earlier in Empire Day, Ezra being able to connect with these things. It's just a cool payoff, right? That Chekhov smoking gun philosophy of storytelling. If you show a smoking gun, you got to show, how it's fired. And they do this really, really well here. So I like the Fearnock attack and them working together on that, which is great stuff. Number 4 for Mary, the Inquisitor's arrival is such a presence on the screen. Super cool, right? Number 4 for Jamie, Zebo saves the day. While it was part of his programming to have the knowledge to assist, you can help but make an emotional connection to him and his desire to help for all he's been through. I love it, Jamie. Number 4 for me to the Inquisitor. It's never a dull moment when he makes an entrance. You know you're in for a fight. Exactly. When he shows up, you know it's going to be a challenge. There's nothing that's guaranteed when he shows up, except that it's going to be dangerous. Jacob's number 4. The relationship of Sabine and Ezra moving past the teenage crush phase. So many good payoffs from this in later seasons, and I'm glad about that too, because that only goes so far. I'm glad this is where they start to evolve past that. Ross's 4, Sabine really making an effort to get Ezra to find out about his parents. She cares about him and has experienced issues with her own parents, for sure. Jason's number 4, cool stuff in space, the intense battle with the TIE fighters in the opening sequence, and the visual effects of the Phantom's emergence from hyperspace. Well said there. And next number 4 is the Grand Inquisitor versus Kanan. Henrik, you're very similar to Mason and I with your love of whenever those characters face off. Liberty's number 4, that uncoupling in hyperspace eek that was seriously sketchy. I love that people keep bringing that part up because it is, again, it's kind of jarring. It's almost like the space equivalency of scratching a chalkboard, right? Just kind of, it's grating and you're uncertain about it, and we've also never seen it before either. Jenny's 4, Ezra's connection with the Fearnox sets up his struggle with balance between the dark and light side. Yes, Jenny, it does. A very powerful metaphor come to life. Ben's number 4 wrote down Attack of the Fearnox. Seeing them just waiting for Ezra and Kanan to give the command was a cool image. Yeah, right? There's a lot of great images in this episode in particular, I think. And Jenny's like, yeah, chills. The whole thing with the whole light versus dark. Blake's 4. Ezra being able to connect with the beast and how even that exposed the weakness he had to work on led to some very dramatic moments in this episode. Again, will help with the character growth later on with his Jedi training. These 2 episodes did a lot for Ezra. I didn't notice enough of my first watch through of the series. Isn't that cool, Blake? I love that you're able to catch it your second time through with us. That's great. Mason's number 4 is the picture at the end that I believe Henrik mentioned for his number 5. But that is Mason's number 4. Let's go ahead and jump into number 3. Boy, these are moving quicker than I thought. So this is the moment I think that you were talking about, Jenny, where this is the ultimate show of struggle between light and dark. And it takes on a personification of Ezra with this massive fear knock. We never knew they could get this large. But look at Ezra's face. Look at this fear knock. When I remember seeing this for the first time, thinking, oh no, are we going to get a tease that he's going to turn to the dark side? That's certainly how you're, to me, led to feel in this episode, in this particular scene, this sequence. And it's very effective. It also shows, and very realistically, that we all have like times where we struggle or a little dark side, and they're not usually that extreme, fortunately. But when they are, that's how it can feel, very overwhelming. And so it's so important to get a hold of yourself, to breathe, control your anger, not let it control you. And this shows if Ezra doesn't, kind of the path he might take. So it's a very powerful little metaphor. I really like it. So the dark side presence there, and showing even the best and purest of people like Ezra, even he can feel that pull or that anger or frustration. It's a very effective metaphor. Okay, let's see what we have here. Minta is number 3. Ezra growing as a person. It was easy to see how he struggled to forgive Zebo. It wasn't until he admitted to himself he was afraid of knowing the truth that he was able to forgive him and make a connection with the fear knock. Well said, Minta. That's very well said. Mary's 3. Ezra and the Inquisitor, just like the others have already stated, that pull to the dark side, bringing up the large fear knock. Pretty effective. Pretty powerful stuff. Jamie's number 3. 2 big thumbs up for the music. First, composition of the score for the early space battle, and second, and even cooler, was use of the New Hope music as the stormtroopers approached the cave. Jamie, I noticed the music too. I don't think I noticed the first few times I watched this series how many musical cues from A New Hope are in this thing. Well, from all of the original trilogy, but especially in A New Hope, this series, this first season, there's a lot of them, and it always evokes a special sort of a heartfelt pull on us fans of the OT. Jacob's 3. The tension of the building in the episode created by silence. There's no music, and it helps the momentum build. Cool. Speaking of music and lack thereof. Jason's 3. Ezra and the Force, his forgiveness of Zebo and its effect on his connection to the Force, that he and Kanan meditate in the Force together as Master and Padawan. Love that. And Henrik's 3. Ezra and Kanan using the Force together to connect with the fear knocks. Boom. There you have it. Ross's 3. I'm afraid of the truth. Ezra finally letting go and being set free to truly connect with the Force. Yes, being honest with yourself, so important. Such an important aspect. Ben's 3. Ezra overcomes his fear of the truth, which allows him to forgive Zebo, and then Zebo feels it through the Force, which then releases Zebo from his mental struggle. Again, the power of forgiveness poetry. Yep, when it's done well, Star Wars really evokes those important lessons for us to learn as real people, which I love. Jenny's number 3. Kanan and the Inquisitor's battle. It's always exciting to watch a good lightsaber battle. Kanan is defensive and protective, and the Inquisitor is offensive and wants to pull Kanan and Ezra apart. It's true. Blake's 3. The Inquisitor's dual wielding a double-bladed lightsaber with a single-bladed one. Visually it was stunning, but just also cool as heck to see in action. Something 8-year-old me would attempt with my toy sabers, and maybe 33-year-old me too. What do you mean maybe? I think that's true, and there's no shame in that, dude. Liberty's number 3. So many struggles for Ezra learning how to use the Force made me really understand why they train the children so young. He fights so hard to surrender, but surrender is what he needs to do to tap into the Force. But he's so accustomed to being hardened to survive. Liberty, that's great, and I think that really encapsulates Ezra's legitimate struggle in this episode and what that means, what he's going through, and what he has to try to navigate in his young Jedi life through this real struggles with his family. Let's go to 2. Number 2 for me is the moment before the attack. It's when they all unite and their lights, their eyes are almost like little night lights as they're all connected in solidarity. It could be creepy, but Ezra's fully in control. And this to me is a perfect example of why these two are effective. Look at Ezra's hand up, asking for peace, asking for calm, asking the world to kind of slow down, centering himself. Kanan is completely relaxed with his hands down at his sides, because he's not defensive. He's not afraid. He's much more experienced. And then they are able to connect, and Ezra is able to center his fear. And then he's not afraid. And that is why he is so effective. There you go. There's a little English teacherness coming out from my end. Mary's number 2. The continuous humor in this show really helps endear them to all the viewers. Kanan saying to Ezra, go make some new friends. I like that too. Minta's 2, wielding the dark side. Despite that Ezra has good intentions to protect Kanan, it was easy to see that his fear and anger summoning the enormous fear knock, and he barely had control. It's true. I didn't mention 3 for Mason was learning about Ezra's parents. That was an important one that Mason had for his number 3. Where are we here? We've got Jacob. Sabine, skip to the picture of Ezra with his parents. I'm not crying, you're crying, right? I empathize with that, Jacob, for sure. I think we both were, perhaps. I won't tell if you won't. Jenny's number 2. When Ezra says, I feel so cold after using the Force to attack the Inquisitor, it's a very specific detail, becomes a player in the season, and encapsulates the difference between the dark side and the light side. Yes, and that's a very important thing. When we hear that, it can't help but remind you of The Empire Strikes Back. I think that's the first time the dark side is referred to as cold, which I think is so cool. So powerful. Jamie's number 2, finding and presenting a birthday gift hologram, showing how much Ezra's new family cares about him and his original family. Felt good to see Ezra connect with a positive image of his past. I like that as well. Very heartfelt after a pretty intense episode. Blake's number 2, the music. It's something I keep mentioning in too many of our top 5s, but the genius way is use of blending old with new makes every episode a joy. And you should keep bringing it up, Blake, because it's an important aspect of why this saga speaks to us. Liberty's number 2, Chopper, once again being the comedic relief. Definitely. Jason's 2, Kanan's quote, you'll never advance as Jedi if you can't be honest with yourself at least. And Henrik's number 2, the Phantom exiting hyperspace. I think that's one we've heard more than anything in this episode, is the Phantom exiting hyperspace. Ross's 2, Ezra using the Force and not knowing any better about using the dark side to summon the big fear knock. The game just changed a bit. Yeah, I would say that is an accurate statement, my friend. Ben's number 2, Ezra's brush with the dark side and Kanan's reactions afterwards. He didn't scold him. He apologized. If all Jedi Masters responded to their Padawan's brush against the dark side like that, how many would have stayed a Jedi? Win for Kanan. I have always said, Ben, that Kanan is sort of the ultimate Jedi. He and Ahsoka, I think if Kanan, Ahsoka, and Qui-Gon were fully in charge of the Jedi Order, I feel like there wouldn't have been a Jedi purge. That's just, I don't know. I just have a feeling. I can't explain it, but that's kind of my thought. Number 2 for Mason is the giant fear knock that I mentioned earlier, that some of you have mentioned how cool that was and how dangerous it could have been. Number 1 for me is a very, very bright side. I'm noticing a lot of my number 1s have to do with something new with teaching or something optimistic, but Star Wars is about hope. So it makes sense that would resonate with me. When Ezra finally, through this entire 2-parter, has peace with his parents and their memory, this part, him looking at his parents, reminds me of Harry Potter, especially the first Harry Potter, I think. So there you go, Mace. But I really just like the warmth of that. It's a really beautiful way to end the emotional struggles of this episode for them. Minta's number 1, happy birthday, Ezra. The moment Sabine gave Ezra the hollow photo, he seemed he was able to feel a moment of happiness despite everything that had occurred. I agree. That's similar to my number 1. Jamie's number 1, Ezra's personal growth throughout the last 2 episodes, learning to forgive and finding balance with the Force. Yes, here. Balance, that's the key. Jacob's number 1, the episode Lessons on Fear reminds me of the line, controlling fear is the destiny of a Jedi. A great line, Jacob. Thank you for bringing that up. Let's see, got a lot of comments here at once, which is great. Jenny, Zebo trying to make up for failing Ezra by gathering Imperial intel, and I think that was an incredible sacrifice. It revealed how much he cared about Ezra. He feels genuine remorse for falling short. Yes, I think so too. Mary's number 1 is just like Jamie's. Ezra's newfound family is so supportive of him, and he understands his feelings of loss for his real family. Definitely. Jason's number 1, Ezra's family photo, a great tangible reminder of his parents and family life. And Eric's number 1 is Chopper rebooting. Hey, let's hear it for Chopper. Ross's 1, Kanan's concerned reaction to Ezra summoning the big fear knock and his teaching moment after the fact on the Phantom. Let kids make mistakes and nurture them through it. He doesn't get mad either. He doesn't lecture him or scold him. He lets him work through it and has faith in him. He's just very effective. Just really inspirational as a mentor. Liberty's number one, realizing that Ezra uses the dark side. He easily taps into what makes me frightened for him. It was amazing to see him control that large fear knock. It was really cool. Really cool. Blake's number one. Not only did Ezra apologize to Kanan for his shortcomings at the end, but Kanan was able to do the same. Something I could relate to with my dad, brother, and even best friends when we fall short with each other. It was a real human moment that stuck out. That's cool, Blake. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Ben's number one, Sabine's birthday present. I can picture her after that last episode feeling for Ezra so much that she worked really hard to get that picture. A great feel-good moment to end the episode on. Yeah, it was. That's why that was my number one as well. Mason's number one is the Fear Knox connection that they have that I mentioned in my second one. So, gee, what is going to be next week? I thought it would be great if we finish this whole first season before we get to Celebration. That's not going to happen, but that's okay. Next week is quite a powerhouse of an episode, Path of the Jedi. This is one where there's no turning back. I mean, this one really is a very significant part in the legacy of this series. But Path of the Jedi is one you are not going to want to miss. So be sure to join us next Monday as we break down the episode. All right, let's take a look. And time to jump into Ask Dan Z. All right, Ask Dan Z. So normally I could double up, but then I don't know. I'll definitely there's not enough water for me to drink to get through 2 top 5s in 1 week. I don't know, Ross. I like what you're saying. I don't know. We'll see. It's okay if we pause a little bit. I think that's okay. It'll just make it that much more exciting when we get back to it. But I will put it in the suggestion box, Ross. I like that idea. We'll see how the old vocal cords can last. So you can certainly ask me anything about Celebration. There was some news announced today about reserving panels. There's a lot of stuff going on. I was able to finally announce that I am the host. I'm one of the hosts for Celebration. I'm the host of the fan stage, the Star Wars Celebration fan stage, which is really awesome. What a blessing, because I get to interact and meet so many more fans. We need more people in this Star Wars community to continue to build up the great stuff going on, the great thoughts, the ideas, and the passion we all have for the saga. So looking forward to meeting so many of you at the Star Wars fan stage. If you're going to be at Celebration, you know where you're going to find me. There are going to be some other places too, but more on that later. So definitely be sure to check that out. Blake wants to know, what's me and Mason's favorite characters using Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga so far? Well, Mason likes Mando. I kind of like using old Ben because he's just more athletic than you, or acrobatic than you normally think. I think that's pretty fun. All right, speaking of knowing where to find me, I hope I'll find you on May 26th for the Celebration Podcast Meetup. It's at the Hilton Anaheim Mix Lounge. All podcasts and podcasters and listeners are welcome. If you're a fan of Star Wars podcasts, we want to see you there. There will be a lot of your friends that you want to talk to and meet, get a picture with, say hello. I'll certainly be there. Corey Clubb, Tom Gross, a lot of podcasters and people in the world of Star Wars that you know are going to be there. So be sure to join us. The first night of Celebration, May 26th at 7 o'clock p.m. It's going to be a great time. It was in Chicago, I can tell you that. Ben says, what's your favorite part about building that speeder Lego set? Look, that speeder Lego set is a life. I don't know, it's not a lifesaver, certainly not a lifesaver, but it was probably the most fun Lego I've ever built, and I don't want to talk about it too much just yet because I want to finish it first. I only got 3 bags left. But look, it's the most fun I've ever had building a Lego set as far as just by myself. I mean, building the Razor Crest with Mason was a different experience. That was an amazing blessing in its own right. There's such a great sense of accomplishment building this thing. It looks gorgeous. It's huge. The detail's amazing. Even though it was 18 plus, I mean, I'm older than 18 for sure. But I thought, this is going to be really hard. This is going to be way above my pay grade. But it's been the perfect challenge. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle, but Lego, and you're building a land speeder. So I love it. It's been so fun. So David says, am I going to any cool podcast anytime soon? I'm going to actually be a guest. I was going to mention it, David, but I didn't know if you wanted me to. But it looks like you're giving me the green light. As soon as this is over, I'm going to jump on and do Star Wars reactions with my friends David and Aaron. Looking forward to that. So look to that very, very soon. I'm not sure when they're releasing it, but in the next few weeks for sure. Jenny says, if I could fight in a lightsaber battle, what Jedi saber would I use? If I could fight in a lightsaber battle, I'd probably do a Jedi run. because I would be toast. But as far as what lightsaber I'd use, I think I'd use the classic Luke's / Anakin / Rey's in the sequel trilogy. That would be the one I would use. Ben with somebody was recovering from Doctor Strange. Look, I haven't seen Doctor Strange yet. It was kind of killing me not to be able to see it, but I'm going to see it soon. And then when I do, then Ben, we'll probably talk about it on CWK Pour Over as well. By the way, people ask me sometimes, hey, what is CWK Pour Over? You talk about it all the time. Well, CWK Pour Over is our Patreon show. If you want to become a member of the CWK Alliance and give back to me and Coffee with Kenobi and help with some of the expenses of the show and just give back. I give back to you with an exclusive podcast every week. We did top 5 athletes. It was really fun to talk some sports. It was due on occasions. And it's fun. It's fun. It's with me, it's Tom, and it's Corey. We have a blast, and I think you'll have a blast joining us this week on Coffee with Kenobi. We did 3 weeks to go for Star Wars Celebration. Gave some tips and tricks. It was a lot of fun to do that. And then this week we're going to do for 2 weeks to go. We're going to go through our favorite panels, or not our favorite panels because we haven't seen them, but just the ones that we're really excited about. Jamie says, do any of Deanna's friends know that her Facebook ID is borrowed on Monday nights? Ask her about the show on the next day. She's never brought that up. But that's hilarious, Jamie. I'm going to ask her about that. Do I listen to any podcasts yourself, anything outside of Star Wars? Oh, Blake, I listen to podcasts all the time. Most of my podcasts I listen to are sports related. I listen to a couple of movie ones. My favorite one is the Tony Kornheiser show. It's sports, it's movies, it's entertainment. I love that. I love Tony Kornheiser. He was very much inspiring to me as I started my own podcast. I listen to a Cubs one. I listen to some Disney podcasts. Of course, I listen to Lou, WDW Radio. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Josh says, last week was busy for a fan, and Doctor Strange was excellent. Good. Careful answer. Thank you. I'm not a spoiler guy, so appreciate you not spoiling it for me. Blake says, Tony K is great. My dad used to do radio with him. Whoa, Blake, we got to talk about this, dude. Tony Kornheiser is one of my idols. This is very cool. Hey, we got a few minutes. Let me know what you do for May the 4th. For me, we had, it was fun at school. Everybody was able to, I wore my Coffee with Kenobi shirt. I had the Star Wars jean jacket. No, I know I didn't. I had the Star Wars jeans. And then I had a Lucasfilm hoodie. I was all decked out. I was at a couple of shows. I did a video interview with Newsy that I posted in the CWK Cafe. That was a lot of fun. I did a radio interview with a talk radio station in California. That was a blast as well. Meantime, may the force be with you. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me tonight on CWK Live. This week, we're going to talk more about Star Wars Celebration, go over some of the individual panels specifically. Hope you will join us. Definitely hope you'll join us on May 26th for our Celebration Podcast Meetup. That will be wonderful. 7 o'clock p.m. on Thursday. Ross watched Rogue One and started mapping out his Star Wars Celebration Anaheim tattoo. That's right. Ross is getting a tattoo at Celebration. That'll be fun. Mary listened to a lot of May the 4th podcast. Fun stuff. Love that. Ross says, cheers all. Enjoy your week. Yeah, enjoy it. It's always fun. Man, what a great way to start the week, spending it with each and every one of you. Really appreciate it, Mary. I hope you have a great week, too. Next week, bring a friend. The more people we have in this community, the better. All right, so I'm coughing like crazy. It means my voice is going bye-bye. Ben's going to be gone for 6 weeks. Rats. Don't skip your classes, man. We will save you some time in the cafe as well. Thank you, Jason, Liberty, Jacob, Blake, Jenny. We'll see you guys. Have a good one. May the force be with you. Remember, this is a live podcast you're looking for. See you next time.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.